Hello, everybody. Welcome back. We're here at it again on this lovely Saturday morning on a grind to talk about things over beer. Welcome to Beer Talks. My friends with me, Addy, say hi.
Say hi.
And Stanley, say hi.
Hello, or hi.
We're here today to talk about something more specific, I guess. That used to be a taboo subject. But you know what? Everybody's more comfortable talking about it now, I think. So, before we get to that, beer of the day. We're trying something different called Delirium Tremens. I was looking for this, and the bottle's hella fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it says on the label that it does say it's strong beer, and it's an 8.5% alcohol per volume.
So
So,
this is gonna be a really interesting episode.
What a perfect episode to have such a strong beer, eh, guys?
Anyway,
Let me crack
I
this
guess
open.
open up the bottles,
Actually, I don't remember how to do this. Am I doing it right?
I can do cheers.
set it on the table. Don't just open it over your hand. It's gonna spill.
All right. Because I like this bottle so much, so anyone who hasn't seen it or touched it, this bottle is so fancy. It's like textured. So I decided not to pour today. I'm going to drink straight out of the bottle.
Just to give honor to the bottle itself.
Mm-hmm.
How are you drinking already?
Oh, my bad.
I'm still pouring.
What's
Oh.
taking you so long?
So this bottle, while John's pouring, I can say, I think so. When we started Beer Talks, we had kind of like a list of beers, and this is was on that list. So when I went to an LCBO run, it was honestly just like impossible to find. The person in LCBO literally told me, yeah, we need to like special order this beer sometimes, and we have to like sometimes it's just like not in stock, very difficult to find. So I was very surprised that Addy found this beer, so that we can actually do this episode today.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's so special.
This was my worry for this beer too.
Mm-hmm. I think I found this beer all the way up in Stouffville, so it did take a little bit of distance.
I'm lucky that I ended up finding one. Anyway,
All right.
cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, it smells good.
So, a law school buddy of mine actually recommended this beer. So shout out to Steph if you happen to be listening. This was your recommendation, and I remembered.
Yo, this hits hard.
Yeah,
It is.
This is
I
good beer.
definitely. This is strong beer. Oh man. I'm supposed to play badminton after this. I don't know if this was a good idea.
It packs a punch.
Well, 8.5%. So this is it on the back. It says it's strong Belgian beer. If that helps.
I mean, I don't hate it, but we do this pretty early, so we're definitely day drinking. And
at least it's not 11 a.m. Okay.
well, fair enough.
True.
We were recording sessions that are earlier. Anyway, things to note about the beer: the taste, the color.
So I drink it out of the bottle, so I can't see the color. But John,
It's like a cloudy or Molson, a little bit darker, very amber. Yeah, fizzy, cloudy, but I think that speaks to the volume of the body of the beer. And I cleaned up the top of the bottle with a little bit of like foam left, and that already like first taste was like, okay, wow, you're trying to make a statement. Okay, message received.
There's this like herbiness to it. I don't know if it's just me. Do you taste kind of like that, kind of like a bitter citrusy and kind of like an herby flavor to it?
I should probably pay attention to the flavor profile. You're right.
You're so funny.
I'm just drinking.
I don't know if herby is the right word for it, but I know what you're talking about. So even from the smell of it, right, it's like very like pungent. It's really strong, right? Like most beers don't smell like this. I can definitely taste hop. So on the back of Delirium, the bottle, it says Delirium's triple fermented. So I don't know if that kind of gives you that extra bit of kick in the flavor.
Triple fermented.
Yeah, I don't know what that means. I mean, like,
dang.
Logistically, yes, it's fermented 3 times. I get it. I don't know what that's supposed to do.
Mhm.
to the flavor profile.
Yeah, I think I figured out what that flavor is. You know, have you ever like tasted an orange peel and it kind of has that zesty but also bitterness to it?
Yeah,
Right, it tastes like that to me. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's just that's what it reminds me of.
it's a very specific smell and taste combination. I just can't put my finger on it. I think orange is in the right direction, but
Mm.
it's something I've had, I think, in Asia.
Yes, yes, totally. For some reason, I'm thinking, you know, those like Chinese herbal teas that are like black, basically?
No,
It
no,
kind of
you
reminds me of
you
that.
know what it is? I think I got it. It's those Chinese herbal candy, like the dried orange peel candy that you're supposed to suck on for your throat.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't I don't know if people know what I'm talking about, but I know
It's medicinal beer then.
maybe, but like
Like,
I know exactly what that what that canister of candy looks like.
mhm,
Yeah, I think this tastes very much like that. The
yeah.
smell of it too.
Yeah, the smell is actually you know, and I have the glass out with me.
Yeah.
It I know what you mean by earthy. It's sorry, herby flavor. I get
Mm,
it now. There's like a very earthiness note to it.
mhm.
Um, yeah,
This is a
Oh,
good
I
beer.
it's
know.
nice.
I know what it is. It almost tastes like star anise. Almost.
Mmm,
Without
anise.
without the numbness.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's very
So you're saying
interesting,
like kind of like licorice flavor,
but not as bitter. But you kind of
right?
get that
Not
note.
as present. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. Wow. We could just. I feel like we could just keep going about this Delirium Tremens.
Yeah, Delirium.
Shout out to that.
If you're listening, we'd love to be
Here we go.
sponsored. This is
As per you.
as per usual. We'd love to have more of your beer. Please send us more, and please make this more accessible in Canada.
I know, man. I don't know how lucky I was that I just ran to my beer store and found it. Although I did have to have a solid like 10-minute going around the aisles and see, you know, if it's the same bottle. And even the bottle that they have, the print on them is different than what I saw in my beer store. So I don't know if it's like a updated logo or whatever, or if it's an older one. In any case, Delirium Tremens.
It's very delicious with the pink elephant against the blue background on the bottle. Yeah, very good.
The pink Ellie with the blue background. I'm stumbling my words. It's definitely blame it on the alcohol.
Yes, we're
A wise man. A wise man once said.
we're 5 minutes in, folks.
Moving on to the topic of the day, which I think is very important to talk about, is today we're all about mental health and mental situations and mental diet. Mental things that are like psychic powers, basically. That's what we're talking about today.
Essentially, yeah, no, John, you're absolutely right. I think when we talk about things like mental health, it is absolutely about mental diet because it's kind of what you consume into your psyche, right? And then so not to be cutting you off or anything, but taking this away, I think when people generally talk about mental health, like there's probably a lot of different things that kind of dive into the topic. So I think in the general topic of mental health, there's things like anxiety, depression, loneliness, or even like your struggles with like your weight, your body image, or lots of different things. But today I specifically wanted to ask you guys about a specific topic of mental health, which is burnout, because I think this applies for a lot of people our age. For younger listeners, maybe you guys have already gone through burnout and maybe not know it, and for our older listeners, maybe you've gone through something like this and you can provide us with some of your thoughts. But I thought this is very I think appropriate for today, just because we, at least for me, and I'm sure you guys can relate, we kind of grew up in a, we just gotta tough it up age, right? Like, at least my parents, right? When we moved to Canada, I think my mom actually had a heart-to-heart with me for this topic specifically. She's like, she can't help me with anything here. Like through school. She knows all the school systems back in Asia and stuff like that. She knows all the jobs, the industries. But here, as I'm growing up, she can't really help me because she doesn't know it, right? So she's like, you have to develop tough skin. You have to be able to figure it out, right? And I think back in the day, and this is not even that long ago, maybe like even 5 or 6 years ago, when you tell someone like, hey, I'm going to therapy, it's kind of taboo, right? People look at you in a different light and they're like, oh, what's wrong with you, right? But then you don't get that level of maybe judgment when you're saying like, oh, like I fell off a set of stairs and broke my legs, I have to go to the hospital for physical wounds, right? So this is something that I wanted to ask you guys about, and if you guys had experience specifically with something like burnout, right? And so before I kind of throw the question back out to you, burnout, again, I just want to like define it so we can have, we're on the same page. Burnout is defined as the state of emotional, physical, and mental exhaustion caused by excessive and prolonged stress.
Right.
Right. And then so it usually occurs when you feel very overwhelmed, emotionally drained, unable to meet constant standards or demands. And then so you're in a state of mental distress. And so throwing the question out there, John or Addie, have either of you experienced burnout in your life before?
Yeah, John, if you don't mind if I go first.
No, go ahead, take it.
Yeah, I have definitely experienced burnout. And I think my first most noticeable one is when I was going through law school. So, like those of you who've listened to my episode, while I was going through law school, I was also working, and I went to law school in Windsor and Detroit. And all my friends and family are in Toronto. So, between school, flying across the world, and trying to make time for friends and family, I felt burnout. And I think at the time I didn't realize it was burnout until I very distinctively remember one episode where I was in Windsor and I lived on my own. I didn't have roommates or anything. I chose an apartment away from the school grounds because I wanted that separation. I didn't want to feel like even when I was in school, I was, or like after class, I was still in school. So
Right, you wanted a different scene, basically.
exactly. So I had an apartment closer to the city center and away from the school area. So I distinctly remember one night after getting groceries, I went home, closed the door behind me, locked it, and then I froze. And then I just sank to the ground and started crying. Nothing happened. There was no triggering event, but I think mentally I was between like the demands of school, exams, having to work, trying to maintain somewhat of a social life, and my romantic relationship. Like it somehow hit a tipping point, and I just sat there crying for like 5 minutes. Like I couldn't think of anything. Like I just felt extreme sadness, extreme stress, and I sat there for 5 minutes, cried, and then kind of like came to my senses and was like, wait, what just happened? Like, what am I doing? And then went on with the rest of the night. So that was my first experience with burnout. And I think it actually took me, just like Stan said, like I was not equipped with how to deal with this. I didn't know who I could talk to. And I think because I was such a high achiever, I felt a little bit of shame. So I didn't even tell my boyfriend at that time. I didn't tell my parents, didn't tell my boyfriend, didn't tell my best friends about it. And I think that was probably during the first year of law school. No one knew about me going through this. And I didn't even tell my boyfriend until my last year of law school. And he was the only one that knew. And then I didn't tell my two girlfriends that I grew up with. I didn't tell them until after I graduated law school. And then to this day, I still haven't told my parents.
So I have a question. When you said gone through this, right? Like, was this a significant period of time where you can remember consistently being stressed out, or was it just kind of like, okay, I know I'm stressed, and all of a sudden there's this tipping point that I think that's these episodes that you've described, and then afterwards you're like, okay, I'm fine now, I can keep going. Like, what was that experience like?
I think leading up to the episode, I didn't realize that I was stressed. I thought it was just like normal stress, right? Like being a student. But I think to me, it became excessive, and it became like what I believe is called high functioning anxiety, where it's like you live on the two extremes. You are both extremely anxious about what your life choices are, your goals, and your future, and at the same time, you're extremely exhausted from all those stress. But then you don't take time to deal with it, so you just keep being a high achiever while at the same time being extremely like anxious. So I think my experience through that was, in fairness, I probably should have took time to see a therapist, but like I said, during that time so much was going on. There's a Chinese idiom where they're like, I have time to die and I don't even have time to get sick. So like I was going through that, so I'm like, I know I need therapy, but I don't have time for it. I'll deal with this when I can.
So at the time, you thought to yourself, I probably need therapy, eh?
I did.
Oh,
I did.
okay, interesting.
Sorry, you were able to identify it like then and there that you're like, you know what, maybe I should seek professional help.
Yeah.
Like you knew.
Yeah,
Wow.
like I knew I needed to talk to someone and get professional help. I got to the point where I even went to my family doctor to ask for a referral, because like I explained to my family doctor, like, I want to see someone, and he was like, okay, what makes you think you need to see a therapist? What makes you think you need to see maybe even a psychiatrist? And I explained to him what I went through, and he's like, that sounds like major depression. Here's a referral. But then unfortunately, like I said, I literally had no time for it. Like I hate to say that, because I want to say that you can always make time for it, but I think it wasn't just literal time. It was, I didn't have the mental capacity, yeah, to even sit down and book an appointment. So during that, I lived with it, knowing I lived with it.
Just tuck it on the side for now. Just, you know.
Yeah, I think that's an interesting point. I want to get back to it in a short bit, but I also wanted to change gear quickly and then just ask John, like, have you experienced something like this in your life before as well, where, just like this buildup of pressure or buildup of expectation that kind of led you to some sort of, and if you don't, and that's totally fine, right? Not everybody needs to have a burnout story or like a mental depression, whatever story, but, I think, I just wanted to ask if you have similar experiences.
I mean, compared to Addie's case, I mean, I know for sure that we're not supposed to be like, oh, he wasn't as bad as Addie's, and therefore it probably isn't the same thing at all. Or it probably wasn't in the, it probably wasn't.
Yeah, like we're not trying to one up each other.
I understand, right? But it makes me think back too that, that people go through these, and the shame that they feel, that they're like, you know what, I should just toughen it up, and like I should just not, I don't have time to break down right now, and let's just kind of put it to the side. When in reality, I feel like your subconsciousness is just screaming for help, that like there's just too much to carry. That being said, I've definitely had a few burnouts that happened to me beforehand, where there are just moments that I just want to be alone, kind of thing. Like there are times when I just feel like I just want to disappear. Not necessarily like, commit suicide or whatever, like nothing that heavy, but I just feel like I don't want to exist anymore. Just, lift all these physical burdens that I have with me, all the worries, everything. Now I know, given that sounds like a very nihilistic way of thinking things, but I feel like burnouts for me comes and goes, as I suppose mental states do nowadays anyway. Now that we're able to more identify and have a more open conversation about this topic, I feel like people are more open to discussing these things, and therefore have more tools to identify, oh, you know what, I am going through something that needs professional input.
Right.
But yeah, nothing too crazy like Addie's. Definitely creative burnouts as well. When you have a bunch of projects and you just want to say fuck it, like I don't want to do this anymore,
Right.
and you just kind of drop everything and you just sit quietly and you just listen to yourself breathe. It's kind of heavy stuff. I mean, I guess that's what we're gonna get to anyway on today's episode. I don't want it to go that heavy, but at the same time, I know that we're talking seriously and sincerely. But yeah, things get pretty serious when it comes to that kind of mental state, and you kind of find a way. You need to find a way. At least I tell myself that I need to find a way to flush this out in a healthy manner, and not through like substance abuse or
Yeah.
whatever vice that you're trying to duct tape fix this thing, right? And
Yeah.
just slap it on there. But yeah.
So when you said you were going through these like different periods of burnouts or like even creative burnout, because it's something that I don't think I can relate to as well probably. When you like are going through this, were you aware you're like, man, I am like fucking burned out right now. Like I am maybe like just too stressed or like there's too many things on my plate. Were you able to identify that at the time, or was it kind of like an after the fact? Like, wow, like I was not in a good state of mind maybe 2 months ago, and I'm glad I got out of that. Like, was it kind of like that sort of after the fact realization?
So to me, I have a really high standard that I put on myself, like sometimes an unachievable and unrealistic bar.
Right.
Yet I still keep it there anyway.
Right.
But I also pride myself with having the ability to a high level of self-awareness, that if I know that a situation that I'm putting myself in will lead to a burnout, like beforehand, prior to, I need to proactively tell myself and be like, you know what, you're gonna burn out, this is gonna suck for a bit, and things are gonna like shit's gonna hit the fan, but you gotta be like, just soldier on, okay? Like you really gotta get through this, so you don't even so that you don't have time to break down and like absorb all this like pressure and the stress, and like just soldier on. Now, that being said, obviously I didn't know that prior to, like, when I was younger, right?
So you literally like hype yourself up and be like, I gotta be prepared for something like this when it happens. That's interesting. That's actually, I haven't heard of that before, but that's an interesting way of kind of like preemptively dealing with something like this.
Right. Proactively, right? It's like there's that saying, something about like a dose of something about remedy. Anyway, I'll look it up in a second.
Yeah.
But I kind of just like put myself into this like suit, basically, that's like, get this shit together, get it done.
Yeah.
Right. Whatever hardships are gonna come, and they're gonna come. You can only control so much, and soldier on. And if it happens to be a time when you're like, oh my god, I can't take this anymore, I'm about to fucking go on my knees and just break down, remind yourself of this conversation you're having right now with yourself.
It's like, hey, you prepared yourself for this.
Exactly. You know this was gonna happen, right? So what did I tell you? You know.
Right? So you're your own best mentor, is what you're saying.
Also my worst enemy, but that's how the saying goes.
Yeah.
Right?
So Addy, that being said, right, like I know that earlier on you said that when kind of like your episode happened, you didn't really know what's happening. You're like, oh, like I guess I went through something, gotta carry on, right? Was that kind of the same type of experience for you? Like, did you know what was happening to you at the time, or like during your school? And I'm sure as a lawyer, like, you guys work long hours, there's like really stressful periods of times. Is that kind of the same thing for you, where when you're burning out, like, do you know? Or is it always kind of like oh damn, like 2 weeks ago I was really in bad shape?
Yeah, I think my experience during law school, it was more hindsight. Like, I think that was one thing that probably is the reason why I didn't tell anyone for the longest time. Like, I knew that happened, but I was just like, okay, I'm just stressed, so that happens, it's fine. And I didn't really realize the lasting effects and the fact that it was burnout. And I think what brought my attention to it was like, I think I overcompensated for that afterwards, not realizing that it was burnout. I'm like, oh crap, I'm really stressed. So to overcompensate, I'm probably stressed because I'm not doing as well in school. So I'm just going to study even harder. I'm going to do even more work. I'm going to make my social life even busier because I felt like I wasn't keeping up with my friends in terms of like being there for them.
I gotta relax harder.
Yeah, like I'm going to relax way too hard. So then like my entire weekend, it'd be like from Friday night to Sunday like evening, I would be seeing people, spending time with friends, family, boyfriend. And then like Sunday night, I would fly back into Windsor. So it's like I kind of overcompensated. And the only reason why I realized in hindsight was my boyfriend sat me down and was like,
I can't keep up with your schedule. You gotta slow the F down. And then also because of that, I think it made a change in my personality that I didn't realize. And after having it pointed out to me, I didn't like. I became very impatient and I became very snappy and I was mildly aggressive. So I swore more. I had no patience to wait for people to explain things. Like if I ever got in a disagreement with friends or my boyfriend, I kind of go off the rails and be like, okay, you're not explaining yourself. I don't understand what you're angry about, blah, blah, blah. So then like, it was something that he actually sat me down, was like, you weren't like this before. Something is happening to make you like this. Is this, is this the new lawyer personality that you have, or is there something else? And it was at that moment that I was like, oh, by the way, this happened. So it was definitely in hindsight. But now, because I've gone through that, I am better equipped to identify when I'm starting a burnout phase or when I'm heading towards that direction. So I would say now I can better identify it and kind of
see the signals coming.
Exactly. And kind of to John's point, like now I can be like, all right, calm down and like hype myself up, or like calm myself down to be like, this is coming.
Yeah.
Like, do not act out, deal with it, but be cognizant
like a normal
of it.
person.
Exactly. So like I think today I am more in the moment realization, but back then definitely hindsight.
So
I found the proverb, by the way. The proverb is an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Nice.
That's the
Yeah. So that's interesting what you said that, because so I'm guessing that you also started to realize that as you're going through, I guess, different stages of burnout, or like different periods where you are burning out. And again, like I don't know if these are like the right words to use. So if somebody like studied this, like they're like, oh, these people don't know what they're talking about. You are correct. I have no idea what I'm talking about. But as you're going through these periods, did you notice that you started treating people around you differently, and do people around you treat you differently? Because that's kind of what I want to know.
So I think, like I said, kind of like in hindsight, I do realize I was treating people differently. Not that I became like a total asshole and a jerk, but there was a level.
That's just you every day.
I know. Like, actually, that's the perfect point, because my friends knew that I was always a high functioning, like go, very type A person. So when I became a little bit more snappy, when I swore a little bit more, they were like, okay, this tracks. This is kind of on brand.
Right.
But it's just me internally. I think even though maybe this is something I would normally do, I kind of knew that before I would maybe do it jokingly, but then
now you mean it.
Exactly. Now I mean it. And I'm like, I'm actually annoyed with you. Like, I'm actually impatient that you're late 5 minutes. Versus back then, I'd be like, I'll tease you about being late, but like, I don't really care. So my friends didn't treat me differently, but I knew that I was kind of treating them differently. Probably the only person that knew that I was treating them differently and knew that I actually meant it was my boyfriend, since he was the closest person to me, right? So he knew that, okay, this isn't just your usual bitchy self. This is like beyond that.
Right.
Yeah.
Your words, not his, right? Just to...
Oh, no, totally.
Okay.
My words. Like he respects women. He'll never like call me a bitch.
Yeah.
I would self-proclaim be a bitch, and he's like, all right, you said that.
Oh wow.
Right.
John, like is that the same for you? Like when you and I don't know if there's like a difference between like creative burnout versus just like I think overall stress burnout. Like when you're experiencing these like periods in your life, like do you feel like you act differently towards other people? Or do other people around, like your family or something, be like, John, what's wrong with you? Why are you so like,
So I try to keep like as you both know well, I try to keep my walls up.
Yes.
And therefore,
Mhm.
whenever I'm going through something that is very taxing, whether that be mentally or emotionally, I tend to just like keep it to myself. And the only time that I would talk it out with people is when I know that, all right, like the pressure is just too much now. You gotta let some steam out, or else this is gonna turn very unhealthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I let some out, but I still try to kind of I have that image of how you guys see me, and I try to keep it that way. Now, obviously, that doesn't sound very healthy,
No.
and that's and I know that we're pretty close friends, and we're supposed to, confide with each other and like give counsel to each other in a very supporting manner, and it's definitely not on you guys to have that responsibility. You can only do so much, right? But yeah, that's something. It's not even fair for me to say that I'm working on, because I honestly am not at this point. It's just like, you know what, that's just how it is with me.
Addie?
I would like to respond to that because I know when you said you're going through like tough times, you put your walls up, right? As your friend, when I see that, I actually, if I'm paying attention and I notice that, it signals to me that you're going through something. And I say this because you're not the only friend that does this. I have a girlfriend that also does that, and
Mhm.
I feel like when you are around that person long enough, you can kind of tell when they do put up those walls.
Right.
And depending on the person, because some people I know when they put up the walls, they need a moment before you reach out to them. But this other
Mhm.
girlfriend of mine, when I see that, I would like immediately call her and be like, "Hey, I noticed at dinner you were doing this. Like, is
Mhm.
something up?" But like for example, for you, if I notice you put up the wall, I won't be like, "John, what are you going through?" I'd be like, "Hey, like
Let me in.
Knock, knock.
yeah, like I know that would probably push you further into like your hole. So instead of that, I'd be like, "Hey, yo, let's hang out. Let's go
That
grab some food," and then slowly ease you into telling me what's going on.
that's when I divert into like something funny. That's when I put my sense of humor in and be like, we'll just kind of laugh it off,
Right.
you know. But in reality, there's like a deep-seated, deep-rooted issue at hand. But I'm just like, you know what? Let's just laugh it off. Sorry. Also, you were asking about like the creative burnout thing. For me, I don't know how it works for other people, but for me, um, also we'll have a good asterisk, fine print at the end of this episode that we are not professionals. Anyway, we'll get to that when we get there. But yeah, to me, creative burnout would be something like, for example, you'll have a due date to produce something and to have the finished product, and days just keep going and you keep trying to do it, and you have this vision that you can't just freaking come to reality, that you have this thing in your mind that you're like, all right, this is what I have, like I know what it's going to look like, but then you can never put it into a physical fruition, and that is so mentally taxing and frustrating that at some point you're just gonna go, fuck it, I'm just not gonna, like, whatever the deliverables are, I'm just gonna own up to it and just like have a delay for it. But obviously you can't just be like, oh well, I suppose now it's more politically accepted to say you need like a mental break kind of thing, but back then it's very much like you use a different kind of excuse. Like, you know what, this was on me, my bad, I have delayed this whatever production, and it sucks because you have this beautiful image in your mind of a creation that you're doing, but you just had too much of it, that you just kept deleting the same files, and you start over and over and over again, and it's just a snowball and it just cycles. And to me, that is the creative burnout that I hate getting onto. And no matter how much prevention I try to tell myself to be like, oh, this is gonna suck, it just sticks to you,
Yeah.
and it just slowly cracks and peels at you, and eventually you're just like, well, hopefully it doesn't come to the point where you kind of just lift your hands up and say whatever, but at the same time what you'll end up making is something that you're not happy and proud of,
Right.
and that's so then that kind of just adds on to
Adds
the
onto that pressure and that like
exactly that you put to
anxiety.
yourself,
Yeah.
and you're like, wait, but this isn't but you gotta do the deliverables, and anyway, it's a feedback loop.
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting because like not just in like the creative world. I think this is what ultimately brings us all to the point of like burning out, because we're, whether we have high or low bars for ourselves, I think everybody has some sort of standard, or like what we want to do, what we want to see, how we want to see our project come to fruition, how we want our career or lives to look like, at different scales, right? And then so not being able to hit those bars all the time, and especially again growing up in the value system that we did grow up in, right? Like I think when we're in like maybe 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. Like I think all of us, every single person that I know bought into the hustle and bustle of city life, right? Like the hardest show on TV was
Yes.
Suits, right? And everybody wanted to be Mike Ross, right? Everybody was like, oh
Mhm.
man, like, I want to be a corporate lawyer or like a 4C consultant or whatever, right? Like those like really high demand jobs. So I think we all bought into that, like, okay, we got to work hard, we got to like work our asses off, like there's no breaks, and we like if we slow down we're just going to get left behind, right? But then now that we're kind of past, and I don't know if all of us are, right, but I think at least I am, where I'm entering into a new stage of my life where I am prioritizing other things than my perceived success,
Mhm.
right? So, for example, I'm definitely prioritizing my health, my inner circle of friends and family around me as more important than my career. I'm starting to realize, like, hey, like a lot of things that happened to me in the past was like not that great, from a mental health perspective. And then so I wanted to ask you guys, because I guess I have a very unhealthy way of dealing with it, but now that you guys have gone through, what you've gone through in your lives, right, the events and the different types of struggles, when you're facing something like, hey, I am smack dab in the middle of, and it's like hard to define, right? But
Right,
I
right.
think everyone can say and be like, I'm burnt out, I'm done, I'm tired, I want to just drop everything, I want to put down all the buckets and just not pick them back up again, I'm done,
Right.
right? Like I want to just stay in this one place for a long time. When you're in that place, like what is the first thing you do? Like you've identified that you're in a not great place of mental health. What do you guys do at this point?
For me, it's like you said, the older that we get, the more quote unquote realistic our perspectives are in our definition of success, right? I don't know if that's because we're pressed for time now, or I don't know if that's because we're just trying to settle down, or that our standards are lower. I don't know. It's probably different for people's cases. But whatever that case is for me, um, honestly, I didn't think of. I just rooted back to my family, and I know that that's not fair to say, and that doesn't apply to everybody because sometimes their family is pretty shitty, right? Or they definitely cannot relate.
Mhm.
But for me, I just look back at to the people that keep me grounded, and we're also at that age where our circle of friends is kind of like the ride and die, ride or die kind of people, right?
Yeah.
Like we have
Mm.
definitely trimmed the edges so much that we just have this handful, a group of people. At least, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but for me, and I think for you guys as well,
Mhm.
like we just have that tight knit group of friends that, yeah, these are the guys that will probably go into the same retirement home with, I mean, knock on wood. But so I just look at all of that, and the good things that we have, the good things that we still have to make, and the oh man, I'm sounding so corny and so
No.
I'm trying to romanticize it, but
So you're looking at like I think you're looking at like what you have on hand and being like, like it's the whole like, mantra of like gratitude and like seeing what you have and appreciating what you
Exactly.
have versus being depressed about what you don't have, right?
Mm.
Exactly,
Okay.
right? And the things that are bothering you now are always going to bother you, right? But that doesn't last as long as the relationships and the family and the friendship and the important things that you share with your friends,
Yeah.
with your circle of people,
No, I
right?
think that's like a very good example of what something that someone can do. I have a
Mhm.
question for you though. Was this always easy for you to do? Like, was it always easy for you to see like, hey, look at all these good things that I have?
I mean, no, obviously,
Right.
it's like a learning process
How
thing,
did
right?
you develop this path of learning?
Um, there was no blueprint. There was no like schedule for it. Um, it just came to me at one point that um, really, ultimately, the things that matter to you as a person, as a human being, inside or out, are the things that you want to matter. And I know the whole cliche of like things come and go and stuff. But to me, when I start realizing that, hey, you know what, I might be going through a really shitty time right now, I might be dragging my feet and stuff like that, and I think I should just accept that I'm here, I'm in this situation, and know that there are people out there who are like are close friends of ours who are also going through the same battles, who are also fighting the same demons, and that misery loves company. And no matter these fights, how long they go for, it's still not gonna outlast the healthy relationship that you cultivated around you, and the people in the family. And it was just a matter of just hammering that point in my head of like, um, you know, there was no practice for it. Everybody goes through cycles and episodes of depression and stuff and sadness, and just it eats away at them and slowly breaks it down, and it really kind of blurs the goal, blurs the appreciation that's supposed to be around you. And not to sound so philosophical about it, but like at the end of the day, again, what truly matters are the ones that that you make matter. What was it called? I actually have this book of the Dalai Lama that I'm a very
Wow.
big fan of. Yeah. And there's this one saying that there's this one monk who has, like, you know, those in like those magazines that have like the route for like, oh, do you like this movie? Yes, no, and then I recommend this other
Oh
movie.
yeah.
It's like a spiderweb thing, right? So this guy, this monk, kind of like created his own version of that, and it's the first one is like, do you have a problem? And it's like, yes, no. If yes, can you do something about it, right? And then if yes, no, and then if it says yes, then it goes to don't worry about it, right? And if do you have a problem, it says no, then you say no if to that problem, then you don't have anything to worry about.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then it says, if do you have a problem? Yes. Can you do something about it? Yes. Don't worry about it. Can you do something? No. Then don't worry about it, because there's
Either
nothing,
way, don't worry about
right?
it.
There's
Yeah.
nothing you could do about any of this stuff, right?
That's funny.
I think
So-
I think that's like a really interesting point, because I think a lot of different, like, you know, material that's out there that's meant to guide us, right? Like religion or like, you know, like support groups and stuff like that, they all have these sort of like logic gates for you to kind of check and say like, hey, what do I end up choosing? But at the end of the day, right, like, it's, you know, how do we let go of some of our I think like maybe stubbornness, or like even just our perceived, again, like perceived success, right? Like what we,
it's pride, right?
yeah,
Honestly,
it's what
pride.
we choose to define what is successful for ourselves, because everybody will have a different definition. And so that's interesting, because I feel like you're taking like a very logical approach to kind of like, you know, like convincing yourself, right? Convincing yourself to say like, no, like I gotta move on, right? Like look at what I have about it versus what I don't have. Addie, do you kind of follow the same type of path, or do you kind of choose to elect a different way of dealing with your mental health issues?
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, John, you are mentally stronger than me for being able to utilize that, because that is actually what I struggle with. Like, from the outside, if you look at my resume, it looks kind of good. Like, I graduated law school, I'm a lawyer, I have my own firm. Like, it looks good, right?
Yeah.
When I'm going through these states of burnout, when I'm going through major anxiety or depressive episodes, I can't acknowledge that. I literally cannot. I will sit there moping at my boyfriend and be like, dude, you are a successful lawyer running your own firm. Like, you should be proud of that. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not a big firm. I'm not making $1 million. I'm not signing off. Like, I'm not winning like Supreme Court cases. Like, to me, like, I just can't acknowledge that. So instead of kind of letting myself fester and like get too deep into that hole, how I deal with like my episodes and kind of my burnout is, like, I could give an example actually. Like, I don't know if I told you guys, but the last 2 weeks have been probably the most stressful since making Partner for me. So
Right.
I have this big appeal coming up. So for those of you who don't know, like, I've joked before, small claims court is like kiddie court. And then, so basically, if you're suing someone for 35,000 or less, you go to small claims. If you're suing someone for more than that amount of money, you go to superior court, which is what we call big kid court. Now, I'm going through an appeal, which means somewhere on those lower courts, someone made a decision that I disagree with. So I am appealing it to the next level of court. So that's like teenager court for me. And then Supreme Court is like adult court. So I'm like in the in between. So I'm working on this appeal. And for the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to write our factum, which is essentially the written argument of why I think I should win my case. And you can imagine this is a really big deal for me. So like in all the smaller courts, you're in front of one judge. But at divisional court, which is where I'm appealing to, you're in front of a panel of 3 judges. So there's going to be 3 very experienced judges basically judging whether or not I should win my case. So I have been extremely stressed about that. But for some reason, these past 2 weeks, while I've been trying to work on that, everything came out of the woodwork. Like, a client reached out to me who has mental health issues. He hired me for a real estate matter, but then he had a run-in with the police, and then he was also committed to a psychiatric hospital while I was trying to deal with his real estate stuff. And I'm getting like 30 text messages from him to be like, can you also speak to the police for me? Oh, by the way, I'm getting fired from my work. Can you take this case on too as well? And I'm just like, okay, I'm working on my appeal. I'm trying to help him with his real estate stuff, and all this other stuff is coming out. So that's one. I had 2 real estate closings. One fell through, and then the other one, like a week before closing, the buyers found there's asbestos at the house. So like everything that can possibly go wrong in these 2 weeks have gone wrong. And it got to the point where like this week, like my factum was due Friday, and I was so stressed about it. Literally, like, there was one day I was talking to like my friends, and I can give them a play-by-play for every 15 minutes. I either got a phone call, something hit the fan, or I got another like client reaching out for consultation, asking for prices, or one of my existing clients has another issue come up. So I literally had every 15 minutes, my phone was ringing. And again, during this entire time, I was still trying to write my factum. So I distinctly remember it was Wednesday, I think. I was sitting at my office, and by like 1:30, I finally put down my phone, and I sat there, and for 30 seconds, I was about to cry. And my brain was like, nope, you don't have time for this. You can cry about this later. And I just had to get back into work. So how I deal with these kind of like stress and burnout is I don't have time to think. I don't have time to appreciate things. So I make a list of things that I can actually do. It's my list of wins. Like, I need a win, and I need small wins to make me feel like, okay, I can do something about stuff going on. So I did small things like respond to the emails asking for consultations and prices, and just be like, I'm running into a meeting, or like, I'm preparing for my appeal. Can I respond to you in 3 days? At least respond to them, right? So I sent out a bunch of those emails. My client who the real estate guy that's also having his like police run-ins and getting fired at work and all that kind of stuff, I basically emailed him and was very honest and was like, look, I don't have capacity to deal with anything at this moment. I don't deal with the police. You need to find a criminal defense lawyer. Like, for your employment stuff, you have to do this and that. And basically gave him a layout of what he needs to do, and then ended it with, I don't have capacity to deal with this until the 2nd week of March. If you want to stop using me and fire me, I am totally fine with that. And he came back and was like, no, I still want you to work on my real estate stuff. I'll find someone else to deal with my other stuff. But like, it was just those little tasks that I could control and do and just pump it out without wasting too much like energy or time. I would just check those off. And then once I see that there's like a list of things that I did do, it kind of calms me a little bit. And then it's like, okay, so it's not that I can't do anything. I just need to break it into smaller tasks. And then once I get into that mindset and I'm a little bit more calm, then I can tackle my big task, which was my big appeal and my big factum. So that's kind of how I deal with it.
Sorry, just to go on a tangent with what you're doing there with breaking down stuff. I remember back when we were doing when I was back in school, and I have a few girlfriends of mine who are like, oh my god, John, this is like worth 50% of our like entire, mark. And I'm like, okay, take the time to freak out now. Okay, let me know when you're done, and then can we just get back to work? Like that's. And they're like, no, John, seriously. And I'm like, yeah, I know. So start freaking out. Go. Like I would just tell them, and then I try to break it down as well to like a more digestible bits and pieces, right? You don't get to the top of the Everest just by fucking, hey, let's go to the Everest, right? Like you gotta slowly take a step at a time. That's just what I wanted to add, and honestly, it really helps.
Yeah, that's
me.
exactly it.
I think just digesting from both of your perspectives, you guys are both very pragmatic people, right? Like I think while John takes like a very, theoretical yet logical approach of like, just appreciating, like being able to appreciate things in front of him. I think Addie, you're more like practical and be like, okay, well, here's a list, this is what I gotta do. And I think like I'm not I honestly don't know what I would do. I know that, for me, when I burn out or when I'm like in that period of burnout, it's usually not like a very short period where I can like very quickly or easily get out of, right? Like it's like a prolonged period of time where I am like unmotivated. I don't want to talk to people. I don't want to go outside. I don't even want to shower, right? Like I don't want to shower or brush my teeth or like, I just don't want to do anything. And, like I think I really felt it when John was like, I just want to just like not exist.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's not like I am actively trying to like unalive myself, but
Right,
it's just a
exactly.
period of like I just don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to go to work. I don't even want to like change. I don't want to do anything, right? And I think during those times it's kind of probably like the hardest for most people to go through. And like I don't think I have the mental fortitude during those times to be like, I have to be able to logically think about these, right? And then so I think this is where I'm saying like I think those are the times where speaking to someone professional to assist in your problems and like having someone to be able to help like identify like, hey, these are some of the things you can do instead will really help, right? Because I think at that point like you just don't really have the capacity to mentor yourself anymore, right? So like for example, when you like break your legs and stuff and you can't walk, right? Like you're not gonna force yourself to walk to the hospital.
Yeah.
What you're gonna do is you're gonna call 911. You're gonna rely on a team of professionals to transport you safely and get yourself treated, right?
Right.
And then so in these episodes of like I think extreme like mental, I would say like downhill. I don't want to say like burnout specifically, but like mental distress. And
Degrading.
yeah, I think you also have to just trust that there's people out there, and then you have to be able to trust those people and say like, hey man, like I can't do this right now. Like there's just no matter what anybody says, I know this is what I'm supposed to do. I know I'm supposed to, just take a shower or go out for a walk or brush my teeth, right? But there's definitely periods of my life where like I'm not able to do that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, also to add on to a way that I flush my I was gonna say dirty mind, but that you need like you need to hire
That
cleaners
too.
for that one. You need to hire cleaners anyway. But like that kind of when I know that I'm going to an episode, I didn't believe it at first, but actually, running. When I started running, it was also a way to just kind of flush all of that out. I don't have the scientific proof for it. I can't tell you to Google it up. I'm sure it's probably there's an article of it there, but that the fact that it makes you feel something else. When you're at a state of just like sluggishness and just not wanting to do anything, just actually forcing yourself up and be like, all right, I'm gonna do something today that's like walk, even just have a change of scene, just have some fresh air, just have the sun out, just touch grass. You know that meme? I
Yeah.
think it's a meme right now. Just go touch grass. Like it really does make a difference, no matter how big that meme is. It unbelievably actually makes you feel something else, whether that be you're in pain physically, but at least now you're feeling something else other than just desperation a moment of just respite, of just disappearing. At least now you're feeling, oh my god, my legs are burning,
Yeah.
or like I'm catching my breath, like something feels deeper. And then on top of that, you're like, holy shit, I did something today. I ran, you know,
Yeah.
or like I went outside and or like again, like it's the small things, right?
Mhm.
The small things just add up into a greater achievement and just shows you the full picture. I feel like that's something that is definitely helpful.
Yeah, I think I've actually also had those moments, kind of like both Stan and John, both of you, like moments where it's just I don't want to do anything. I'm not motivated. Like I don't like myself and I don't like what's happening around me. And
Right,
I
right.
just
I
kind of,
hate myself.
yeah, like I just kind of wish things just disappeared and, or like I kind of
Mhm.
blended into the background. I just kind of wish it wasn't happening. But for
Mhm.
better or for worse, I live with my boyfriend. So he would see that and he would used to try to talk to me and try to cheer me up, but that actually irritates me more because I'm like, no, you can't help me. You don't
Just let me
understand.
be sad, for
Yeah,
crying out loud. Let
exactly.
me be sad. I don't want to be happy. Let me
Exactly.
be sad.
So what he does now is when he notices that he will just take care of everything so that when I don't want to eat, when I don't want to shower, when I don't want to like do
He bathes
anything,
you.
like he'll make food for me and put it in front of me. He will put water in front of me and be like, you need to drink water. If I'm staying up late because I'm stressing over my factum, he would like he's like, did you save the factum? And I'm like, yes. And he'll just shut my computer. And he'd be like, it's 3 a.m. You need to brush your teeth and sleep. Like he literally did that this week. So I get those moments and like even those little things that I want to do, like I don't even have the energy to make that stupid list. I'll have those moments as well, but like I said, I have the benefit of living with someone and he is able to identify those moments and help me out in those times. And part of that too is like I said, now that I'm older and I've experienced it a few times, I can see it coming from a mile away. So
Mhm.
as I'm going up that hill, I had given him a heads up. I'm like, just so you know, this week I'm going to be useless. I will forget about the garbage. I might not, I'm probably not gonna cook food. Don't expect me to do any cleaning, any dishes. Like I kind of gave him like a warning, like I'm gonna be useless this week because I know I'm gonna be stressed. So he kind of got a heads up, but yeah, like I have those moments too where it's just like, man, I don't want to do anything, and
Right. I
yeah.
suppose we're very lucky and blessed
Mhm.
to have that kind of support
Yeah,
structure.
for sure.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah, I think today's conversation is really interesting because I'm hearing like a lot of really good takeaways. Like I think number one is like, every I think everybody at some point or another goes through something like this. Not necessarily burnout, right? But just kind of like,
Mhm.
mental degradation and where they're like feeling a certain type of way and it might affect the way that they treat people or even it might even affect the way that people treat them, right? Because I think with a lot of mental issues or mental health concerns, like it's just not visible, right? Like it's just
Mhm.
something you experience, and so having that awareness is very fundamental in a making sure that we are aware of what's happening to us, and b being mentally aware enough to practice improving that state, right? Whether or not if it's like, trying different things, going out to touch grass, or,
Yeah.
like have a building that support network or letting people around us know like, hey, listen, this is what I'm going through. I might be a little bit difficult for the next couple of weeks. I don't mean it, right? And not to
Mhm.
get like a free pass to say like, I get to do whatever I want for the next 2 weeks, right? But like, hey,
Right.
Mhm.
I think asking your loved ones around you to be like, hey, I'm going through something tough. If I'm a little unbearable for the next couple of weeks, please let me know instead of
Mhm.
being annoyed with me back immediately, right? Like I'm not doing
Exactly.
this with
Right.
bad intentions. And then so I think that's what I'm hearing a lot of. And then there's definitely multitude of ways for someone to deal with mental stress, because I feel like all three of us have shared different ways that we are kind of looking at this and different durations of different activities and stuff like that.
Right.
And then it goes to show kind of like, even very highly functional people, right? Like Addie, as a
Yeah.
seemingly very successful lawyer, right, goes through things like, creative burnout or like, just periods of extreme stress, right? And then so I think everyone at some point will have these concerns. And I think, in today, like 2022, in the woke culture, right? We
Right.
want to be mindful of something like this, but not kind of being able to weaponize this and be like, well, I have a mental disorder or I have a mental health issue. Like I get a free pass for the next month, right? Like that's kind of not how it works, but it's more so just kind of like being mindful of, hey, like everybody is fighting their own demons. I think, John, you said that earlier today, and I think that like really resonated with me, right? Like everybody's fighting their own demons, and especially when something like this kind of comes along, you don't know what people are dealing with, right? So just being mindful of another person. And then again, right, being in today's day and age, I think therapy is something that is openly talked about a lot by many different workplaces. And I want to know what you guys feel about having professional therapists being included as part of like our health budget or like our OHIP or our employee benefits when we go to work.
Benefits, right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I find that like I would love to talk to a therapist, right? Like I've gone through multiple different workplaces. Some offer really great coverage while some don't, right? So when I do work for a employer, or even like because the province also doesn't, our government doesn't also give us back like, hey, here's some free money to go see a therapist. I'm also debating like, do I have the capacity to spend this money to go see a therapist, right? So I wanted to see your guys' thought on like, should this be included as part of our benefits in general?
Yeah. Oh, I am 100% for it. I'm totally behind it. I think I'm not saying like I expect the government or our benefits providers to cover everything, but to at least have an allowance account so that maybe we only need one session. Some people only need one session. Some people need months of guidance, right? So if there's at least an account for like a couple $100, right? I think that's at least incentive for a lot of people to take that first step to go to the first session. And in my opinion, whether it's 1 or 10 or 20, I think it's helpful. So if there's at least something there, whether it's the government or a benefits provider, I am 100% for it. And whether or not I use it, right? I think it's beneficial to our society as a whole.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we are pretty blessed with our health benefits here in this country already as it is. And though for this situation and this mental issues that I feel like is booming, or maybe not booming, but is more openly talked about, I definitely think that your support groups can only do so much. You yourself can only do so much, and having not necessarily the right answers, but the correct perspective, the
Guidance.
professional help that the professional help that you need to put you and to show you a perspective that you haven't seen before, right? That will open your ideas to something else, to see things differently. I think is beneficial to everybody.
Yeah. I also want to throw this out there. Maybe, unpopular opinion. I don't think it's up to your network to deal with your mental issues or mental health issues.
Fair.
Right? I
Agreed.
think
Fair.
they're there to support you when you need it. But I think it's also unfair for me to expect my network of people to be like, hey, I have this and that. Like, you guys have to just bear with me,
Right.
So,
Right. True.
yeah.
True.
Totally agree.
You're right.
Totally
Yeah.
agree.
Also in that note too, just because somebody's on fire doesn't mean they're asking to be saved.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
True.
Yeah.
So you might know that person who's always so commonly on this episode, and you try your best to kind of be present for that person or whatever, and they just keep going in the same cycle.
Yeah.
And then you just watch them burn, right? And because they're not asking to be saved, they just kind of want the attention, and that's unfortunate. And I feel like that does cloud our perspective and our view in this whole issue and this whole situation, because then you're like, oh, this person's just looking for attention, but in reality another person might seem like they're acting the same way, but in reality, it's a cry for help kind of thing.
So I think,
Which, I mean, it's sad, but
yeah, no, I think so. I think that's why it's important for us to like talk openly in this episode about mental health, at least, because I feel like the more people talk about it, the less it becomes taboo, and the less
Right.
less it becomes taboo. I think the more honest we can talk about, things that we're experiencing with like all other people for I think a more meaningful conversation, right? Like, how do we move forward from this? What sort of infrastructures can we build? And then like, how can we, at the end of the day, just like reduce the amount of, I think, like mental health, the stress as a generation that we're experiencing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, today's episode is definitely more on a very serious note, and I think it does require seriousness to talk about the issue. Very grateful for Stan for moderating today's episode. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you,
Yay.
Stan.
He was the pillar for this mental health episode.
Very much so.
Right. That being said, here's the asterisk, the fine print. We are nowhere by any means professionals. What we say about in this episode specifically, take it with a grain of salt. You are very much open to your own opinions, entitled to it, in fact, and
Share them with us.
share them with us. Yeah. If you would like, if you disagree, that's fine too. We don't have to disagree on a lot of things. If you think that seeking therapy is a waste of money and budget, that's fine too. We're just here to drink some beer and have an open discussion that hopefully everybody, the audience, will listen to.
Yeah, speaking of the beer, it was not joking when it's strong, because I don't know if you've noticed on camera, I've been swaying a little bit by the last 10, 5 minutes. Yeah, like it is hitting me, guys. Like I'm buzzed, and like
You have badminton.
I know I'm so screwed. And it's funny because I was just looking at the bottle. The tall cans that we've been having before was like 500 milliliters. This is only 330, and it's hit
I know.
me so hard. Like,
I know.
good job, Delirium.
Oh, you liked it? Oh, okay.
Hey, listen, I actually, so I will say, after an entire bottle of this thing, if I do see it out in a bar or something, I will get it again. I actually really like this beer. Yeah.
Oh.
Yay! So
Delirium Tremens. Our lines are open.
Yeah.
Speaking of lines, Addy, CLSs?
Please,
yeah,
please, please.
CLS, comment, like, and subscribe. Okay, let's see if I can do this well tipsy. Our Instagram and TikTok handle is at BEERTALKSTO. Beer Talks TO. So find us on Instagram and TikTok.
Hear you trying
Right.
so hard.
The challenge. This is harder than her
facto.
her case. Yeah, her facto.
Seriously.
This is one of the harder ones. Sweet. We'll talk at you guys next time. I just stole that from another podcast.
Yo, I was like, well, that's really good. We are talking at them, but okay,
Yeah.
if it's stolen, then it is what it is, you know.
I can't quite take credit for that one. Thanks again, Stanley, for moderating. Thank you, Addy, for being here.
Thank you,
Thank
John.
you as well. Yeah.
We are Beer Tugs, and we shall hear from you guys next time. See ya.
All right, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, everybody.
I'm actually so drunk. I'm so drunk.